In a remote village in Cameroon, Amina and Chidi, two high school students, had a shared vision to create a solar-powered lantern that could help children in their village study at night. The idea came from the struggle that many students faced trying to complete their homework after the sunset. With no electricity in the village, many children used candles or kerosene lamps, both of which were expensive and unsafe. Amina and Chidi decided to take matters into their own hands and build a better solution, a lantern that would harness the power of the sun. They spent months working on their project, experimenting with solar panels, batteries, and LED lights. Their initial designs didn't work as expected, and many nights were filled with frustration. But they persevered, learning from their mistakes and refining their design. Slowly, the solar-powered lantern took shape. When they finally tested their invention, they were amazed to see the light shining brightly. It was a simple yet powerful solution that could transform the lives of the children in their village. The first few lanterns they built were given to students in the village to test. The response was overwhelming. Children were able to study longer into the night, and parents were relieved to no longer have to rely on hazardous kerosene lamps. Word spread quickly, and soon neighboring villages were asking for lanterns of their own. Amina and Chidi saw the potential for something bigger than they had ever imagined. They realized that their invention could help not only their village, but many other communities in rural Africa. As the lanterns became more popular, Amina and Chidi's bond grew stronger. What had started as a project between two friends began to blossom into a deep connection. They spent countless hours together working on their invention, and during these moments, their relationship slowly shifted from friendship to something more. They found themselves sharing dreams and hopes for the future, not just for their project, but for their lives together. Their shared vision for a brighter future became a foundation for their growing love. With the success of their lanterns, Amina and Chidi felt a new sense of purpose. They knew their invention had the power to change the course of their community's future. They worked tirelessly to expand their project, seeking funding and support to produce more lanterns. They also began to dream about how they could help other areas in need of clean, affordable energy. Amina saw the potential for using solar power not just for lighting, but for other applications such as powering small appliances and even schools. Chidi, too, began thinking bigger, considering how their work could inspire others to take action and make a difference in their communities. One evening, after another long day of work, Amina and Chidi sat together watching the sunset. They reflected on how far they had come from their humble beginnings to creating a product that had the potential to change lives. It was then that Chidi looked at Amina and, with a smile, said, "We've built something amazing together." Amina's heart swelled with pride. "We've built something bigger than just us," she replied. They both knew that their project was just the beginning of a much larger journey. As their success grew, so did the challenges. A larger company began producing a cheaper, mass-produced version of the solar-powered lanterns. Though the new product was less efficient and lacked the durability of their design, it was still a serious competitor. Amina and Chidi had to find a way to stay ahead of the competition. They knew that they couldn't simply lower the price to match the competition. Instead, they focused on what made their lanterns unique: their quality, their design, and their connection to the community. They began adding new features to their lanterns, making them more durable and energy efficient, ensuring that their product remained the best choice for families in rural areas. Despite the increasing competition, Amina and Chidi's passion for their work remained strong. They knew that their invention was about more than just selling a product. It was about making a real difference in people's lives. They also realized that they had become something more than just inventors. They had become advocates for a better future. They began speaking at local events and conferences, sharing their story and encouraging others to pursue their own ideas for creating positive change. However, as their project grew, so did the pressure. There were days when Amina and Chidi struggled to keep up with the demands of their work. Their relationship was tested as they faced new obstacles and challenges. They found themselves arguing more often, each of them feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities they had taken on. Amina, in particular, began to question if she had made the right choice in dedicating so much of her life to the project. But whenever they took a step back and reflected on what they had accomplished, they both knew that they were on the right path. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, Amina and Chidi sat under the stars, talking about their dreams for the future. Chidi turned to Amina and said, "We've come so far, but we can't forget why we started this. We need to remember the people we're doing this for, our village, our community." Amina smiled, feeling a renewed sense of determination. "You're right," she said. "We're not just doing this for us. We're doing it for everyone who needs a chance at a better future." With this newfound clarity, Amina and Chidi returned to their work with renewed energy. They focused on expanding their project, seeking new ways to make their solar-powered lanterns more affordable and accessible to the communities that needed them most. As their work continued to grow, they also found ways to involve more people in their efforts. They hired local workers to help with production and trained others to become ambassadors for the project, spreading the word about the benefits of solar energy. Amina and Chidi also began to realize that their work could serve as a model for other communities in Africa. They began reaching out to neighboring villages, offering to help them set up their own solar-powered lantern initiatives. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon their project had expanded far beyond their village. Amina and Chidi had created a movement, one that was rooted in the belief that everyone should have access to clean, affordable energy. As their solar-powered lanterns spread across the continent, Amina and Chidi began to realize that their work had become more than just a business. It had become a symbol of hope for people in remote villages who had long been overlooked by larger, more powerful institutions. They were proving that innovation and determination could change lives, even in the most isolated places. And as the lanterns continued to glow across Africa, Amina and Chidi knew that they were lighting the way for a brighter, more sustainable future. The success of their solar-powered lantern project also brought new opportunities for Amina and Chidi. They received recognition from both national and international organizations, which gave them the chance to expand their work even further. However, as their success grew, they faced new challenges. They were constantly seeking new sources of funding, and the pressure to keep up with the growing demand for their lanterns was mounting. Yet, despite the difficulties, Amina and Chidi remained committed to their mission, always reminding themselves of the impact their work had on the people they were serving. In time, Amina and Chidi's relationship blossomed, and they realized that their love for each other was the foundation of everything they had built. As their project expanded, they also began to build a future together. They dreamed of starting a family and continuing their work to improve the lives of people across Africa. Their shared vision of a better world kept them motivated, even during the most challenging times. With the continued success of their work, Amina and Chidi began to focus on even larger projects. They envisioned creating a network of solar-powered schools and clinics throughout Africa, each one a hub for education and healthcare in remote communities. They also began to explore new technologies such as solar-powered water filtration systems and energy-efficient cooking stoves that could further improve the quality of life for people in rural areas. It was clear that Amina and Chidi's work was far from over and that their journey was just beginning. Through their work, Amina and Chidi had created a ripple effect that spread far beyond their village. Their solar-powered lanterns had sparked a movement, one that was bringing hope and change to communities across Africa. And as they looked to the future, they knew that the work they had started would continue to grow, lighting the way for generations to come. As the years passed, Amina and Chidi's solar-powered initiative continued to flourish. What had started as a small project to help students study at night had transformed into a movement that brought sustainable energy, education, and healthcare to countless villages across Africa. The solar lanterns they created became symbols of hope and empowerment, allowing children to study, families to live without the dangers of kerosene, and entire communities to access clean energy. But with their success came greater responsibility. As the network of solar-powered schools and clinics expanded, Amina and Chidi found themselves managing a growing organization. They recruited passionate individuals who shared their vision and worked tirelessly to build partnerships with organizations and governments that could support their mission. They also began advocating for policy changes to make solar energy more accessible to rural areas, pushing for legislation that would promote renewable energy solutions across the continent. As their work gained international attention, Amina and Chidi traveled to global conferences, sharing their journey and inspiring others to pursue similar projects in their communities. They met with leaders from other countries, exchanging ideas and collaborating on ways to scale their initiative even further. Their commitment to creating lasting change was unwavering, and they remained grounded in the values that had driven them from the very beginning: sustainability, innovation, and community. While their work took them all over the world, Amina and Chidi always returned to their village. It was here that their dreams had been born, and it was here that they could see the tangible impact of their efforts. The once dark village now shone brightly with solar-powered lights, and the schools and clinics they had built had become vibrant hubs of learning and healthcare. The transformation was a testament to what could be achieved when people believed in their vision and worked together to bring it to life. Their personal lives also flourished. Amina and Chidi, who had started their journey as high school friends, now had a family of their own. Their children grew up surrounded by the same values that had shaped their parents' lives: a love for innovation, a commitment to making the world a better place, and the belief that even the smallest idea could spark a brighter future. They made sure to involve their children in the projects, teaching them about renewable energy, sustainability, and the importance of giving back to the community. As the solar-powered lanterns continued to light the way for future generations, Amina and Chidi knew that their work was far from finished. There were still many challenges to overcome, and many communities still lacked access to basic energy and education. But they had created something lasting, something that would continue to grow and inspire change for years to come. Together, they had built not just a project, but a legacy that would light the way for countless others to follow. The village, once isolated and without light, was now a beacon of hope, a place where innovation and love had come together to create a brighter future for all. Amina and Chidi's journey had not only transformed their lives, but had also sparked a movement that was lighting the way for a more sustainable and equitable world. Their shared dream had become a reality, and as they looked to the future, they knew that the best was yet to come. As the years went by, Amina and Chidi's impact continued to grow. Their work in renewable energy, education, and healthcare sparked a wider movement across the continent. Other regions, inspired by their success, began to adopt similar solar-powered solutions for their communities. More and more villages embraced the use of clean energy, and many started to focus on creating local innovations to address their specific challenges. It wasn't just about lanterns anymore. It was about building a sustainable ecosystem that could support entire communities. Amina and Chidi's efforts were now global. Their story had traveled across borders, inspiring young inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders worldwide. They were invited to speak at international summits and collaborate with large-scale organizations, amplifying their message of hope and empowerment. Despite the increased recognition and the complexities of managing a global initiative, they never lost sight of their roots, ensuring that their village and community were always at the heart of everything they did. Though their responsibilities had expanded, Amina and Chidi maintained their commitment to staying connected with the people who had supported them from the beginning. They frequently visited the villages they had helped and listened to the stories of families whose lives had been transformed by solar power. The bonds they had forged with their community were stronger than ever, and each visit reaffirmed their purpose. At the same time, their family had grown. Their children, who had once played around the solar panels while their parents worked, were now young adults. Inspired by the values their parents had instilled in them, they began to take on roles in the organization, bringing fresh ideas and energy to the project. Chidi and Amina were proud to see them follow in their footsteps, carrying forward their mission to create a more sustainable, just world. In their personal lives, Amina and Chidi remained as deeply in love as they had been when they first worked together on their solar lantern project. Their shared vision had not only changed the world but had deepened their bond in ways they never could have imagined. They had built something beautiful together, not just a legacy of invention and progress, but a life full of purpose, love, and shared dreams. One day, while sitting on the porch of their home, overlooking the village that had once been dark and isolated, Amina turned to Chidi. "We did it," she said with a smile. "We really did it." Chidi took her hand, his eyes filled with pride. "We did it together, and we're not done yet." They knew that their work would continue long after they were gone. The movement they had sparked was already being carried forward by the next generation of leaders, innovators, and dreamers. And as the sun set behind the hills, casting its warm glow over the village they had transformed, Amina and Chidi felt a deep sense of peace. They had not only built a brighter future, they had become part of something much larger than themselves, something that would continue to shine for generations to come. Their lanterns were no longer just a tool for studying at night. They were a symbol of possibility, of hope, and of the power of people to change the world. Through their work, Amina and Chidi had shown that even the smallest ideas, fueled by love and determination, could light the way for a better tomorrow. As time passed, Amina and Chidi's initiative evolved into a powerful movement, transforming not only their village but also the entire region. The solar-powered lanterns had grown into a comprehensive network of sustainable solutions, including solar-powered schools, health clinics, water filtration systems, and community centers. More villages, seeing the tangible benefits of these innovations, sought to implement similar models. The solar-powered solutions became the cornerstone of a new kind of rural development, one that was community-driven, environmentally conscious, and deeply rooted in local needs. The couple's organization expanded, now known as the Bright Future Initiative, a name that reflected the hope and change they had sparked. With the help of an expanded team, Amina and Chidi worked tirelessly to expand their reach. They collaborated with local governments, international organizations, and grassroots movements to advocate for the implementation of solar energy solutions throughout Africa. They even began working with local entrepreneurs to help them create their own energy solutions, fostering a new generation of inventors who could take their vision forward. Through these efforts, Amina and Chidi realized the importance of training and empowering the younger generation. They established scholarships and mentorship programs, helping young innovators gain the skills they needed to continue creating impactful solutions. The schools they had built were now bustling centers of learning, where students studied not just traditional subjects but also focused on renewable energy and sustainable practices. Amina and Chidi made it a point to personally mentor many of these students, sharing their knowledge and encouraging them to chase their dreams just as they had once done. The impact of their work began to ripple outward. Communities were thriving in ways they hadn't thought possible. With access to renewable energy, families no longer needed to spend money on expensive, harmful fuel sources. Small businesses flourished as entrepreneurs tapped into solar power to run their shops. Women especially benefited from the newfound independence that solar energy provided. With more light in their homes, they could work after dark, run small businesses, and support their families in ways that were previously impossible. However, even as they saw the far-reaching benefits of their work, Amina and Chidi never lost sight of the humble beginnings that had sparked everything. Their home, their village, and their story served as a constant reminder of the power of community and the importance of working together to solve big challenges. The couple continued to visit local schools, clinics, and community centers, hearing from those whose lives had been transformed. Every story they heard filled them with renewed purpose. Amina and Chidi's personal lives also flourished. Their children, who had grown up in a world where renewable energy was a part of everyday life, had become passionate about the environment and social justice. They had taken on leadership roles within the initiative, each of them contributing in their own unique way. Their son, for example, had developed a new solar-powered irrigation system for farmers, while their daughter focused on expanding the educational programs to teach renewable energy to children across the continent. As the years passed, Amina and Chidi's influence grew, and their love for each other and their work remained unwavering. Their relationship had been tested through the ups and downs of their journey, but it had only grown stronger. They celebrated each milestone, both personal and professional, knowing that the work they had started together had laid the foundation for a brighter, more sustainable future. In their later years, as the organization continued to thrive, Amina and Chidi began to focus on passing the torch to the next generation of leaders. They knew that their work could not stop with them, and they were proud to see the younger generation of innovators carrying the movement forward. They spent their days reflecting on all they had accomplished and all that had yet to be done, but most of all, they felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared. One evening, as they sat together in the quiet of their home, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Amina turned to Chidi. "We've done more than we ever dreamed," she said softly. Chidi smiled, squeezing her hand. "We've done it together, and we'll keep doing it, even if it's in different ways." Their work had never been about personal recognition or accolades. It had always been about building something lasting, something that would continue to inspire hope and change long after they were gone.